Today I'm going to be creating God boosted towers here in BTD5 by using different mechanics in the game as well as a glitch or two along the way, and that means that you guys can actually recreate any of these towers for yourselves because I'm using absolutely zero mods to make it happen. However, you cannot do this on the Flash version of the game because unfortunately a lot of the things we're going to be using in this video simply aren't available over there since that does no longer get updated. But the first thing I want to mention is that I'm actually going to have every single thing in my monkey laboratory activated. A lot of them don't really directly help the towers, but a couple of them are very important, especially attack speed because, well, we're god boosting towers, so we want as much attack speed as we can get, right? And then also the other thing is that with each tower, I'll switch to its specialist building. I'm starting out with the Juggernaut, so that's why I have this one active. So if there's a specific thing worth mentioning, like 10% extra attack speed in this case, I'll definitely mention it, but you can just assume that with every tower, I've already gone back and actually turned on its specialist building. I just didn't bother showing you guys because that would be kind of redundant. However, with that said, the most important part of this video is that we actually go over to the map Overthrown, since the two thrones on this map are going to do something quite insane for us. I'm not going to go to easy mode, let me go to sandbox mode here. But once we load in, you can see the two thrones right here. They actually will give you any tower you place on them 15% extra range, but much more importantly, 5 times attack speed as well. And then we can also use the Call to Arms Village to actually double attack speed, along with using the overclock upgrade. And if you combine all this together, it does actually stack to being 20 times attack speed. However, this isn't true for every tower because something like the Super Monkey is already attacking very fast, and if you get faster than 1 attack per frame, it simply cannot go past that limit. The game runs at 60 frames per second, so the max projectiles theoretically should be 60 per second. I don't know if you can actually get that far, but the Juggernaut Dart Monkey normally attacks quite slowly, so this should be really interesting to see. And I'm just going to put down a Juggernaut right here. I mean, obviously the right path does nothing, but I'll get it anyways. And once we send out a Moab against it, which is quite slow itself, you'll see it only really gets off, what is that, 9 shots in total. I mean, the range is pretty decent, but yeah, with how slow this thing fires, even against something like a Moab, it's only able to do 9 shots. However, without actually increasing the speed that this thing fires with, we can already see a huge difference if I just put down a 0-3 MIB Village, and that's actually because of a glitch, which will make it so that this will start doing 5 damage to the Moab, because if you guys didn't know, which you probably do, the Juggernaut does 5 damage per shot to ceramics normally, and there's actually a glitch with the MIB where now it can do that to Moab class balloons as well. It won't do it to anything below a ceramic, but this does apply to anything that does Moab specific damage as well, so really interesting to see. And right there you can tell, I think we might have gotten like 1 extra shot because it came down this path, but there was a pretty big difference in terms of how the Moab actually came out of that, because we could actually do some damage now. I do think the left path being able to increase the range and attack speed by 15% makes a little bit of a difference. Yeah, that actually seemed to do a lot more than I expected there. It looked like the Moab was almost going to get broken down because I think there was a couple of shots where it was on fire. So definitely made a big difference because the extra range and attack speed combined should actually give more extra shots than a couple. I think I kind of undersold it there. But now it's time for the grand reveal of the truly God boosted Juggernaut. All of that leading up to it was just kind of for reference, and also to show you guys that there is a way to make it do 5 times its normal damage with the MIB as well. So it's even further God boosted than just attack speed with this one. Now, of course, let's make sure we have the village here, and then let's get this down. Now, let me just see what the 5 times attack speed does here. It looks like we already got a bunch of shots off on that side, and are we able to take it out? Yeah, we actually do, but whoops, didn't mean to send a ceramic. I don't know if we're going to be able to take out a Moab from the other side though, because we're not going to be able to reach it over here. That could make a big difference. But you can tell regardless, I mean, this thing already looks absolutely insane. I'll slow down the game so you can actually see it there. I think that would have only been a few leaks. It looked very close. But yeah, that's already a huge difference. However, we can, of course, further double the speed with this upgrade. And then I'll try to put down, I don't really know where to put the engineer at where it won't hit anything. I don't really think it's going to matter. It does like 1 damage per shot, I think. But we do need it for its overclock. And let's see now, okay. So I can just apply the overclock. That lasts a really long time. And then we can, of course, apply the Call to Arms once we actually send out the balloon here. But I don't think a Moab is going to be any sort of threat against this. Oh my gosh, now it looks like the same speed as when the game was on fast forward mode before, which makes sense because I'm pretty sure fast forward mode in sandbox should be 3 times speed. So now we have 4 times the speed that we had before, so it's actually even faster without fast forward mode being on, visually speaking. I don't think a BFB should be any challenge for it either. Let's see though. I don't even think from this side actually it's even going to matter, but let me see. And unfortunately, despite what the game says, this does not give extra range, the call to arms, so I'll just wait until it's close here. Oh my gosh, that looks absolutely insane. I think it's gonna get it though, yeah, because once it goes down to ceramics, it shreds through those, and the regular balloons get a little further, but they're still no match for it. Okay, this is gonna be the ultimate test. Obviously, I don't expect it to beat a ZOMG, but I wonder like how close could it get. Okay, make sure right now I activate that. It's gonna be in the range. Up, get out of here, McAfee. Come on. Yeah, I missed the call to arms there by a little bit, so we lost a slight amount of damage. I guess we'll see. If it was close, I'll retry. I don't think it's going to be very close, though. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't... Ooh, actually, it wasn't that bad. It could be barely possible. I definitely think if you put it in a better spot. I guess let's see real quick. So if I use the support Chinook from the helicopter here and take this guy, if I put it right here, it should still have the 5 times extra attack speed that it had already. I think the extra range as well. So I don't really know where the best spot would be. I don't know if it's like right here or right here, but I'm going to assume it's more so probably right here, so I can fire down this path and this path. Like I definitely think this would be way too limited. I don't know, this might actually be better just because you'd have more like range through the center, but I'll just try it right here. And I might as well put another couple call to arms as well, fire guy, just so that way I don't have the same issue as before. I don't know why I'm getting all the left path upgrades, like those are going to stack, but let's see if this can actually do anything for us. I don't know if like buffing it with the call to arms and the overclock is going to make it so that the other buff gets like de-applied, but I'm pretty sure the only thing that would do that is resetting your game. So with that said, here goes nothing. I don't think it really matters if the ZOMG comes from this side that much, but I guess I'll just I'll send out a pink balloon and then send out the ZOMG. So one problem is it's not going to have the ability to hit it up here. That's going to definitely make a big difference, I think. So it doesn't look like... Okay, so this is what I was thinking might happen. It doesn't look like that the throne buff is actually being applied anymore. You can see here the fire rate is much... I think when you apply the overclock, it actually resets it because it's another speed modifier, and the game realizes it shouldn't have its extra attack speed. So that's what I was wondering about. So okay, so you do have to actually keep them on the throne, it would appear. But that shouldn't really matter too much with the Tack shooter, at least, because this has got to be the best area on the map anyways for it. I mean, not that any area is particularly good, but at least up here, it kind of has a decent amount of track that goes around it. And I really do want to see what this is going to look like with the crazy attack speed. I don't really think that it's going to get too much stronger from any glitches or anything like that, but just the sheer attack speed of something like this, for example, is going to be really interesting in comparison to something like, I guess, the overdrive upgrade in BTD5. But yeah, let's get this going here. I don't think the Moab is going to stand too much chance against it. That actually looks really crazy here. And it almost can touch it the entire time. Although if it came down the other path, it would have been much better. And wow, that was actually a little less effective than I would have hoped for. But yeah, let me definitely send one down the other way. Oh yeah, that was much better. And you can see like it is firing insanely fast. I mean, the tacks are not very strong. And there's no way to do like sharpening stones or anything cool that you have in BTD6. But still pretty cool. The Ring of Fire definitely would be stronger as well. I think this does like 3 or 5 damage per attack. I'm not exactly sure, but let's see. Oh my gosh, that is that was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. It might just hurt your eyeballs. It's like, holy crap, that was very, very intense. That was like the actual force of the sun right there. What would that do against the BFB coming down the other path? I'm wondering now. You can't even really tell the difference between the two modes, but that is like, that's actually like the sun right there, I think. Oh my gosh, when the call to arms comes off, it at least looks more like reasonable. But that is actually one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Wow. And part of the reason I wanted to do live commentary is because this is my first time testing these for myself. So like you actually get to see my real reaction instead of me either trying to pretend like I'm reacting for the first time or just having like dry voiceover afterwards. But with that said, let me also see what a blade shooter can do. The blade maelstrom's not going to be affected by it, unfortunately, but the blade shooter definitely should be. I gotta remember to send a balloon down the other path because then we could have had the Moab come down this way, but that was absolutely crazy looking still. I bet that could destroy a Moab. I don't know if it's going to be much better than the Tack Sprayer honestly would be, and definitely don't think it'd be better than the Ring of Fire, obviously, but let's see here. Yeah, that does look really crazy, though. Definitely, okay, it was better than the Tack Sprayer, I think. At least a little bit, it looked like. Or about the same. I think the balloons maybe got a tiny bit further, but yeah, again, I don't think that the activated ability certainly gets affected in any way. Now, I'm also really curious about the Boomerang Monkey. As you guys have seen before in my videos, it's already possible to make this tower insanely strong just with glitches, so with the 5 times attack speed as well, or I guess 20 times really in total, what exactly are we going to start getting out of this thing, I want to know. And I'm specifically going to be using the Glaive Ricochet because that actually should be a lot stronger than the Bionic Boomer, which I'm pretty sure also is going to end up getting limited before it can attack any faster, whereas this is a slow firing projectile, but it can duplicate its boomerangs into a bunch and then attacking with all this extra speed as well, and the extra pierce, which makes it spawn extra boomerangs that we get from the call to arms. All of it's just going to be absolutely insane. But before I even add the village, let's just see how it looks with just the extra attack speed and everything. And actually, I have an auto hotkey script that should be able to just send ceramics for me here automatically. There we go, because that can do it in a steady rhythm, so it's a little bit more consistent than me tapping it. And you can see already, okay, not amazing, but also not terrible. This spot that it's in right here is really great for the boomerang as well. But yeah, honestly not bad. All right, let's get down our village now and we get the engineer. I mean, I can send ceramics again, but I don't think this time they're even going to have any chance. Although it's also a problem of I can't really consistently have the auto hotkey script running and then also click on abilities because my mouse is just going to get pulled back over here. So that's also another annoying thing. I guess I'll try to send like a huge rush of them myself and then make sure I activate the abilities. All right, yeah, this is definitely a lot more ceramics than it was sending before. I try not to have the script go too fast, but oh my gosh, that is just an insane amount. Again, it's not attacking incredibly fast, but just the sheer amount of boomerangs that are getting spawned is pretty insane. And I have to wonder, like, I don't know if that would be enough to even destroy a BFB just because it's not going to be able to really use that effect as much. But I do want to see what's going to happen certainly against it. I didn't expect it to reach it actually when it was over there. But yeah, you can see that wasn't very much damage despite how fast it was attacking. Yeah, it doesn't, I don't think it's even going to, it might get it down to Moabs at the last second, but yeah, it's not even going to be able to take those out. But if we were to spam Moabs at it, I do think it would actually destroy those surprisingly easy. Let's send just a rather generous wave of them. Yeah, you can see that it's like so close it could only reach the BFB, it could not reach the Moabs. But yeah, I think against the oh my gosh, that is absolutely insane. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think actually that makes me wonder then, like, does that mean that multiple BFBs would allow it to spawn more boomerangs and then it would be way more effective? I guess I got to give it a fair shake here because I might have just been totally underselling it with the one BFB. Might be the one tower in the game that does better against multiple targets. And then also the Glaive Lord, I don't think that gets any effect either. Oh my gosh, it did it though! With the huge lag spike. Wow. That was, yeah, okay, so I was right. It was like, well, now I guess we got to send a big group of ZOMGs and see what happens here. Oh, geez is right, because this is going to seriously test the limits of my PC, I think, here. I'm calling it a PC. It's a freaking laptop. Either it just doesn't, like, pop them at all, or it might just lag for, like, 10 seconds. It's going to be interesting, though, either way. Because, yeah, like, once you get the extra pierce from the Call to Arms village, it spawns another boomerang on top of all the extra boomerangs it's spawning from the extra pierce you already get from everything else. And its specialist building lets it spawn an extra boomerang as well, which I failed to mention before. But let's see here. This is the ultimate test. Curious. I don't know. Again, it might not even like break the ZOMG layer at all because it might just be too much. Okay. Come the BFBs here, I think. Maybe not yet. Okay. Oh, no. Oh, no. There it is. Yeah. Okay. Not as bad as the... Oh, there's the lag. Okay. Well, it did it, though. That was truly insane. Really goes to show like just how much glitches and attack speed and everything can come together to make certain towers like this way stronger than I think Ninja Kiwi ever intended them to be in this game. Now, if this video ends up doing well, I'd really like to make a part 2 and even a part 3 to it, so I gotta save a decent amount of towers for those. But if you guys did enjoy it, dropping a like definitely helps to let me know, along with the comments as well. But you might also enjoy the video that just popped up on your screen.